Hi, everybody, and welcome to EW's Around the Table. Today we are discussing animated film Batman: The Long Halloween. We have with us actors Jensen Ackles and Julie Nathanson, writer Tim Sheridan, and producer Butch Lukic. Part 1 comes out on digital and Blu-ray on June 22nd, and Part 2 will follow a little later, digital starting July 27th, and on Blu-ray on August 10th. So that stuff is coming out soon, but from what I understand, you guys have actually been working on this movie for a little while, recorded a lot of the performances a couple years ago. So just wanted to start, what's it been like, sitting on this, working on it for a couple years? Jensen, you're Batman, and you haven't been able to talk about it for a while.
That was definitely the most difficult part of this entire experience, was just not being able to talk about it. It's obviously most people I know, it's every little boy's dream to be able to get paid to say I'm Batman. So that was one I had to bury deep and try to forget about for a while, because it was several years ago, at least 2, right?
3.
Yeah,
probably 3. We started
3 years
recording
ago
3 years ago.
Julie and Jensen, did you guys have any familiarity with this when it was first presented to you, or what kind of interested you about it? I mean, Jensen, we were talking about how you get to play Batman. It's kind of a dream role, and not just are you playing Batman, but you're doing it in one of, I would say, the most iconic Batman stories.
I think that's one thing to keep in mind, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, keeping this secret for so long. Was it wasn't just the Batman. It was The Long Halloween, which is just such an iconic story within that world. And that was a double whammy when I told my friends. I was finally able to. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Batman," and they're like, "What?" And then I was like, "And it's a Long Halloween." What? So it was very, very clear that this story is, obviously everybody knows Batman, but this one in particular is certainly widely known, even to folks that aren't heavily into the comics. And I that became very apparent to me just as I was able to start to talk about it. Originally I'd come from a previous film where I actually voiced Red Hood. And so when I got the call for this, I assumed that I would be reprising that role back into, whatever story these guys were adapting. And then I realized that I had gotten the upgrade, so or at least the option for it. And I don't even think they got the full Batman word out. I think I heard
Bat.
I was like, yes. That's not even something that I had to think about.
No, it was a no-brainer for us.
And then to hear that it was Long Halloween, and it just compounded the fact that I had to keep this secret for so long. It was like sitting on the palm.
Yeah, and you even dressed as Batman last year.
I did.
Oh yeah, you did.
I couldn't help myself. I had this wonderful crew person that I was working with who actually made handmade costumes and cosplay stuff, and
awesome.
She didn't even know.
Wow.
She had done a Red Hood version for me.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to do a Batman. Would you be my, mannequin essentially? And I was just inside. I was just like, oh, if you only knew. If you only knew.
Oh yeah, a Batman. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And funny enough, I think she modeled it from the color palette and everything from The Long Halloween.
Oh my God.
It was too much, and I was just like, yes, and this is going to be we're going to have a really big laugh about this in about a year.
I think people have not only been waiting for The Long Halloween, but they've also been waiting for Jensen as Batman.
Yeah.
Speaking of a fan, I mean, it's like my most liked tweet, I think, of the last year was when it got announced, and I shared the GIF of Jensen saying I'm Batman, and I just said finally, man, people went nuts.
I remember when you posted that.
He's right out of central casting. Everybody knows that Jensen was born to play Batman. So I'm so excited for people to get to see this movie and see what he does.
Yeah, it was funny, just to kind of go back to what Julie was saying, like I'd love to just have the mic and be like, by the way, guys, I'm back. And drop the mic and exit, but then I would come back and be like, but it's a long Halloween. You got to understand. It's the whole thing. And then I would be like, see, look what I'm doing. Look at this. Look at the other people that are, and I would probably not act as cool as I would want to, but it's of that magnitude, and that's why we're here. That's why we're all excited about it.
And what Tim was alluding to, there is that moment in Supernatural, right, where you say it as like a joke, and right. So it's like we have that GIF, we have the Instagrams of you dressing up. It's almost like a trail of breadcrumbs leading to this.
That was my question, because the voice print, Jensen, I don't know if you feel this. I think with Batman, there's such an iconic voice print to find it and make it yours. And it made me want to ask, I know this is your job, not mine, but like, Jensen, what was it like? I wanted to ask you, what was it like to find that voice in you?
Well, the biggest thing that Wes and Butch and I were having a struggle with, I think, right in the beginning, was knocking the Texas out of me. I had to make sure that there was no that I didn't slip into a Matthew McConaughey.
I remember that,
because that would be an odd Batman voice.
Oh God! But I want to hear the outtakes so badly.
So once I just kind of like started, paying attention to that and stuff, it was really just, you fall into that Batman thing of that kind of breathy. You don't want to overdo it, but you just, it's very, very controlled and very confident and almost effortless. And then the Bruce voice was simply just kind of like the outdoor voice. It's you got a little bit more vocal in there. You put a little bit more of your nose in there, and you just make it more of a natural voice. But the Batman one was just, I think I threw on my bedroom eyes whenever I was trying to play.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for a great discussion. I guess I just wanted to kind of round it up by saying, at the top, we were saying this film took a couple years to complete. So just wanted to see if you guys had anything to add about what you're most looking forward to about fans finally getting to see it.
I'll say, to touch on what Julie said about the quietness of it, it reminds me of one of my favorite moments of doing this, which was after a lot of the animation was done. We'd go back and I had to do a lot of fight efforts, chasing the fight, with the oof and the rah and all of that stuff. And one of my favorite moments was Wes would be like, I don't know, do we think that punch would hurt Batman? And Butch would just unmute himself and go, no. And then Butch made me cut so many of my fight efforts because he's Batman and he doesn't get hurt. He doesn't get the wind knocked out of him, and that was one of my favorite moments because I'm so used to overselling the fight efforts and all the other stuff I do. But this was a pleasant surprise, and I enjoyed that.
Right.
Yeah, it's Batman never does this, So.
Yeah, he doesn't need to make an effort to punch. He's Batman. Leave him alone.